Hi, my name is Amit from bsvsolutions.com, and today I am going to show you and give you a basic introduction about Microsoft Business Intelligence, one of the component called SSAS called SQL Server Analysis Services. We'll talk about this in brief, and I explain you all the basic concept in a simple language. So let's first see the formal definition of SSAS and why do we need it. SSAS is Microsoft Business Intelligence, one of the component that's called OLAP solution, online analytical processing, and it is also used for data mining functionality. SSAS could also be called as a cube, which presents data in multidimensional format. Data is available in pre-aggregated manner, therefore the query processing would be faster. SSAS is a multi-dimensional database. I underline all this word and explain you. It's a multi-dimensional database primarily designed for your business users so that they can analyze business data in multiple views and perspective, multiple views and different level of consolidation, and store data logically in a cross-tabular called multidimensional format. This is a graphical presentation of my cube. You see it consists of three-dimensional view. One dimension is your time, another dimension is your measures or facts, and another dimension could be called as your scenario, and the gray area shows occupied cell or selected cell. Now the first question, as I said, it's a multi-dimensional database. We already have a relational databases like SQL Server, DB2, Oracle. Then why do we need a multi-dimensional database, and how does it add value to any organization, and how it is different than traditional database? So in order to understand this, we'll see some sample data. I have got one sample data for sales order processing. This is sales data. You see sales data is something like when you go to Walmart and buy something, they generate an invoice or a bill, the data, and they record the information into their transactional system. We call transactional system because it maintains day-to-day transaction. For example, one row is one transaction which has got transaction ID. It's similar to your invoice number. So in Walmart, every time the transaction happens, they record the information in which city, which country the store exists, the product detail, the time detail, and store detail, and various the information, how much sales are done, and various the information. The way they store data logically is called transactional system because it record information for day-to-day business. But this data is not meaningful for any kind of analysis, or it's pretty difficult to directly make any analytical queries because the OLTP system or a transactional system is not designed to address such kind of question. Therefore, we reorganize this data or reformat them in a pre-aggregated manner. This is how it logically look like. It's a two-dimensional view of my data. You see the same information are present in a different format. So I've got time dimension for January, February, March, and intersection with your province, Newcastle, Sydney, Texas, and Ohio. An intersection of your time and your province would be your aggregated data. So this is how you can read total sales for January, Newcastle, total sales. Similarly, you can have three-dimensional view of your data. So in addition to your time and province, you have got sales manager. So this is a cross-tabular view of your time, province, and sales manager. And this is also a pre-aggregated data. Every time business user query this information from this cross-tabular view or multi-dimensional database, it is much more faster than a typical transactional database. So that's called multi-dimensional view. Another way, the same information can be viewed with the same data can be viewed in a different perspective, right? So I could see the sales. Let's see the three-dimensional view. I could see the sales data for when I look with the respect of time dimension, it's called Q1 sales. When I look the same data with respect to your province or city and time, you call this Q1 New York sales. You can add another dimension called Q1 New York sales for done by sales manager John. So the data changes according to the context or perspective. Same information can be seen in a different perspective. and this give a rich, it give a capability to my business user to analyze information in multiple views and format. So your SSAS present data in multidimensional array. This is an example. You can also assume the same thing present in an Excel format. This is like a multidimensional array. So logically your SSA is stored like this. You could also see this, it's like a box inside a box. This is another way of presenting your multidimensional cube. So you see it's a two-dimensional array, and every intersection, every cell in turn is a two-dimensional array. So every time people use, query some data, like I want to see this data, it would be intersection of New York, product A, January sales. It's a cross tabular view data navigation. The data can be present in a multiple consolidation level. The information can be present in multiple consolidation level, right? And it could be pre-aggregated as well. So you can see in this, with respect to time dimension, I'm looking at my sales for, it's a pre-calculated data. So my hierarchy is year, quarter, month. So I could read this is monthly sales. It's a pre-calculated. I could further consolidate this and this become a quarter one sales. And it could further be consolidated at yearly. So sales can be consolidated or aggregated at 3 different levels and give me a summary information about it. SSAS enable me to do all this activity. Now the question comes back, we already have a transactional system, then why do we need OLAP? Transaction system designed for day-to-day business operation or business strategy, but it is not designed for any kind of analytical queries. So there's a separate product. Microsoft family has got 2 products, SQL Server Database and Microsoft Analytical Services. OLTP system follow business processes, whereas OLAP is designed for analysis purpose, analytics, and it works on business data warehouse. The bottom diagram also play an important role. It shows how data come from transactional system through various channels and land up into your OLAP server. There's another product from Microsoft family called SSAS, SQL Server Integration Service, which pull data from disparate source system and populate or load data to your relational OLAP or multidimensional OLAP. And the final result is navigated through reporting, and users can make certain business decisions depends upon the way data stored into your multidimensional database. So final step would be data presentation. You also see the same information I present. OLAP, the source of OLAP server, essentially a OLTP. You may have multiple disparate OLTP, could be your ERP, CRM, customer relationship management, resource planning, enterprise resource planning, or maybe some legacy product. Data pulled from disparate sources, disparate OLTP, and populate your data mart or OLAP server. Enterprise data warehouse for enterprise which work across multiple department. Enterprise data warehouse may have data from different department of an organization like sales, marketing, procurement, GHR, and all. Data mart could be subject specific. You can also visualize multidimensional database as this box where each cell store the pre-calculated data with intersection of time, your facts, and your measure. Fact in your scenario. So this is how you read. It's a total January sales for total January actual sales. I can the gray out the box, one part of box I marked with the gray out, a gray color, which demonstrate we are focusing on one part of the cube. It's a total sales for actual versus budget. I could further gray out one intersection for total sales for all 3 months, total actual sales for all 3 months. I could further even focus on one specific element of your multidimensional database like January actual sales. So the beauty of this organizing your data in multidimensional format, you can split into multiple pieces, slices, and focus on one element. You can also compare one cell with another cell. For example, you like to compare your actual sales versus your budget sales. You can compare these 2 cells. So data analysis become quite easy when you organize your information in multidimensional format, right? This is called multiple view of your same business data. The graphically shown over here. Now, if you look at the complete Microsoft Business Intelligence product suite, it is split into multiple pieces. This example demonstrates the whole life cycle of your BI information delivery, right? The first part says gather. So you gather the required data from disparate sources. The data may be spread across in various sources, maybe from CRM, ERP, or some legacy product. One of the solution we use from Microsoft Business Intelligence family called SSAS. It is an ETL tool called extract, transform, and load, and extract data from disparate sources, transform the data to make it meaningful in a business context, and finally load it into your staging area. Staging area is your temporary place where you load the data. From there, you in turn load into your operational data source, or maybe you load directly to your enterprise warehouse. Depends upon scenario to scenario. And SSAS works once again over here to pull data from staging table to your enterprise warehouse. And once data available in your enterprise warehouse, finally data feed to your SSAS cube. It could be tabular view, relational OLAP, it could be multidimensional OLAP. We'll see in the next slides what is relational OLAP and multidimensional OLAP. And finally, the final step is data presentation and data share. Analysis of the information is done through OLAP, and data is shared either using reporting. There's another product from Microsoft BI family called SQL Server Reporting Services, through which we can present the data. Or you can use typical SharePoint portal to share your business information. You also have a Power Query, a BI component from Microsoft BI family, through which you can integrate your corporate business data in Excel, and your business user can continue to do all kind of analysis remaining in Excel. That's a complete view. This slide gives you one level more about your relational OLAP and multidimensional OLAP. Microsoft BI is designed for tabular OLAP called ROLAP and multidimensional OLAP. It caters and bring the best of the breed of solution for both the world. So you see, it's typically done in 3 layers. So you have data source layer, maybe disparate sources. If case your data source is RDBMS, you populate your ROLAP, and in turn could be used as some presentation layer through which you present your business data. So you could have ROLAP. In addition to this, you can have MOLAP called multidimensional database. And you can use both functionality together as well in certain scenario. From performance point of view, the primary driving factor is performance. If your solution is not good enough, not fast, people don't like to use it. So here I've given a brief the comparison between your different kind of OLAP solution. ROLAP logically store your data in cross-tabular manner on OLAP format. Therefore, it is relatively slow. The performance of ROLAP greatly depends upon the underlying data source. So maybe my ROLAP sit on top of SQL server. Therefore, if my SQL server is not fast enough, my ROLAP will not present. It's just a layer or a presentation of your relation database. So the major problem with ROLAP is a slower query performance and slower aggregation, because eventually the query process via SQL. The second kind of OLAP is called HOLAP, a hybrid OLAP, which is the appropriate combination of relational database and multidimensional database. For example, your hierarchy is like this: year, quarter, month, year, quarter, month, and weeks and days. This is my hierarchy. The more granular data I store, the slower my query is. So we decided to split this hierarchy into 2 pieces. Year, quarter, month will store into OLAP server, and weeks and days we store into OLTP server. This way, on one hand, we can provide detailed information to the business user. On another hand, we can maintain the cube size. So we have got OLAP performance relatively slow because it may access data from multiple data sources. The best is called OLAP, multidimensional OLAP. It is primarily designed for data analysis with faster query performance. Right? The data may be available at parent level called pre-calculated. So whatever data you want, there may not be any need of calculating this beforehand. So that's it for today. We have seen today what is OLAP server and what are different components it is. Why do we need OLAP server when we still have OLTP? And what are three important components from Microsoft Business Intelligence family called SSAS. It's a cube, multidimensional cube, SSIS, which is integration service, ETL product, and SSRS, SQL Server Reporting Studio, which is one of the way through present business data. In the next slide, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to prepare a first cube. For today, I'm going to stop here and open for your question.